participating via
All
Zoom
right, Zoom.
today.
Yep, just so everybody knows. Yep, good. Okay, our next line item of business would be at 7:05, which we're already at, would be public hearing for 704 Washington Street. This is for site plan application. If you could introduce yourselves, please, to the board.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ted Cannon on behalf of Amigo. I'm here tonight with John Randall, the president of Amigo. Joining us remotely are Bill Masiello, their architect, Adam Hunt and Dan Campbell from Level Design. And yeah, that's the extent of the team.
Bethany McCann.
Oh, and Bethany McCann from Amigo as well is joining us remotely. So we appeared before this board to sort of give an overview of what Amigo had in mind for the property back in August. And Amigo had quite a bit of work to do, frankly, and has done quite a bit of work. We've passed through design review, and I think they've worked closely with Mike to address some of the other concerns. And so, I think we don't have the photometric plan done yet, so we won't be in a position to be able to close the public hearing tonight. I'm confident that will be ready by, well in advance of the next hearing, and hopefully we can have everything together by then. But if I may, Mr. Chairman, turn it over to Level Design to take the board through the status of the plan at this point, I think that might be helpful.
Okay. You okay with that, Mike? Okay. Yes, please, if you could give us a brief overview wherever he is.
He's muted. Is that-
Adam, you're muted.
You're muted.
Hi, Gary.
How you doing, Greg?
Good. Adam, you there?
Sorry. Yep, I'm here.
There you go.
Hi, Adam Hunt with Level Design on behalf of Amigo. As Ed said, we went to the board last in August. We've significantly revised the plan since then. Went to Design Review Commission for approval. Actually, we should back up a bit. We submitted revised plans in October, and the plans that are currently submitted were revised based on the comments from the board and from Beta from that submission, as well as revising the layout of the plan. Let me just bring up the plan. If I can just share my screen.
Does Maxine have to come in?
She will. Maxine, if you want to give him permission,
Yeah, he should be all set.
thanks.
Thanks, Maxine.
Okay. Okay. So as I said, the layout initially was more spread across the width of the lot. It's been revised to be pushed over to the west side of the lot, abutting the neighboring Amigo property. And basically this.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Adam, we can't see the plan.
We don't see the,
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Did I not pick the same one? Is it up now?
There it is. Yeah.
there you go.
You might need to,
okay.
you might need to enlarge it just a little bit.
Okay. Is does it not look right?
Yep.
Can you?
Yep.
I have it maxed.
Okay?
We're good.
Okay. So, yeah, we revised the layout of the parking to, essentially run from the front to the back of the lot and push everything to the west side of the lot, and above the neighboring property, Amigo property. We added a turnaround, and an extra row of parking on the other opposite side. We used curb openings for the drainage, which I think we had initially used design. And since then, we go to the grading and drainage, added a bioretention basin instead of a forebay. We're working with the board on their comments and data to revise this further to be a back to a sediment forebay with the bioretention basin and an infiltration basin, and remove the vegetated filter strips. For the drainage, additionally, going to provide a basin back in this corner to deal with the flow from the roofs and impervious areas in the back. So we'll provide a small sediment forebay and bioretention basin there. We've added a utility sheet to show all the existing utilities in the road, utility connections, the septic system, which we will have, there's a preliminary layout. We had an approval for the septic in the back. This is a preliminary layout of a revised system for that, and then a separate system in the front for the other building, which we will need to go to the Board of Health for. So the vegetated filter strips here, these will be removed with going forward with the new revisions. As far as the stormwater goes, and we did remove the inlet. We had a graded swale in the back. We still have a swale, but it just drains out, discharges from the site rather than trapping in the middle and draining into an inlet and pipe to the basin. With the revised design, that wouldn't work, so we just revised the grading to just swale it to the back. As I said, we're going to add a bioretention basin there to deal with those impervious areas. The front was revised slightly. Initially, we tried to use the existing curb cut, but we had to get away from the wall to get site distance, improve the site distance, and kind of just came in at an angle to try and accommodate a better parking layout as it came in here. And as one of the comments to the design review, we revised this slightly to eliminate a space here and added one over on the other side. Other than that, I think I'll pass it to Bill. Bill, do you have anything you want to add?
No, you're all set. Okay.
I think he was referring to
Okay,
Bill,
hi.
Bill Masiello, the
Hi.
architect. Thank you.
Hi, this is Bill Masiello. Yes, I'm the architect working for Amigo. Sorry you couldn't hear me. I was on mute. So we actually did submit for a photometric plan with the initial submission that we sent to the design review. That hasn't been updated as far as the adjustment to the parking lot and the adjustment to the entrance, but we do have a complete photometric plan that's been designed, and we will just modify it very, very slightly for those changes that Adam was just describing in regards to, again, the parking and the entrance drive. So I want to make sure that I want to record that was already reviewed by the DRC. They did take a look at it. It passed through that. They felt like it was fine. It was actually one of the points that they voted on in the first meeting that we had with them was they voted to support the photometric plan. So I just wanted to make that clarification. As far as the structures of the buildings that are there, they're very similar to the buildings that are next door. I think everybody has, I'm not sure everybody has seen the design of them. I believe were the documents submitted from the DRC to the planning board? So you saw the complete package?
No.
Okay.
No, only the planting plan, Bill.
Okay, so let me just share with you the image of the building.
Okay. Adam
You
needs to
allow-
stop sharing screen.
Oh, sure.
Okay. It says the host disabled
I don't know why
participants sharing.
For some reason I'm not seeing the button, like,
Maxine, can you take him off share screen?
oh, there we go. Now I can click it.
Okay,
Oh,
and
okay.
Bill,
Now I should.
and you
I
want
should be- Yep,
share screen.
I
Oh, all right, oops.
I have it.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, great, super. All right, so I'm just gonna toggle back and forth. So this is the planting plan that was submitted to the DRC. So this is obviously the entrance drive. We put a little gateway of a couple trees here. We put trees at the ends of the islands. We also located a large tree over here. We put some ivy along the front. This is like an American ivy, so it's going to be something that's going to be relatively dense. We specified a pretty large size tree, so we do have some screening in here. These areas that are shaded are mulch beds along here. These mulch beds against the property, against the structure of the house, against the foundation, will be planted by Amigo. They're going to have that as part of their vocational training, where they're going to allow students, adults and staff to actually put plants around here. There would be vegetables, herb gardens, flowers, and then in the front here we have a mulch bed for some annuals. There was a comment about extending some plantings around here, which we'll be glad to accommodate some plantings to help screen this corner of the parking lot. I believe they said they were concerned about the east side, which would be right here. So I'm sure that the comment from the DRC was about the visibility, or from Beta, I believe, was about the visibility to here. So we'll put a low screen of some evergreens in this location. That shouldn't be an issue. So as you approach up here, the next view that I will show you is basically a view from this corner facing those two buildings. And that's what you see here. Materials are very similar to what's next door, not the same color. These tend to be a little bit warmer palette. Next door is more grays, but this would be beiges and tans and cream colors. So you get a chance to see what that looks like. Does anybody have any questions on the architectural piece of this?
No, as long as you can just make that as part of your packet for us as well,
Yeah, we'll get that submitted.
part of the submission, please.
Sorry about that.
Absolutely.
No, that's okay, just want to make sure it's there.
Absolutely.
Is that it? Are you done, or you need more time?
No, that's it. I
Okay.
just want to show you what the structures would look like.
Okay, thank you.
So you can see that they're in residential character.
Sure. Oh, it looks
Okay.
pretty, looks nice. So I guess what we'll do is we'll go to Amy first, usually out of sync, but if Amy could give us a briefing, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just kind of, the last time they were in front of us was August 8th, so I kind of reiterated some of the comments that the board had asked for. They asked it first to show the snow storage, which they have, the landscaping, the curving, the paving, which they have provided that as well in the details. At the time, they needed to file a design review, which they have, and they do have a recommendation from them. The lighting plan they've already touched on will be submitted in the next submittal. And they did want, the board at the time, I know they've completely kind of changed these plans, but did want a letter updated from Fire, which Fire has provided a letter to the board. Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. I guess we'll go to Mike at DPW. Mike, if you want to comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They've, with the revision, they've addressed most of our previous comments. One thing we did notice on this latest revision, though, was that on the parking layout, we noticed the layout and materials plan shows the 20-foot deep parking stalls and a 20-foot wide aisle width. And then we noticed on the typical details, it showed the parking stalls at 22 feet deep with a minimum depth of 19. So it's a little confusing and inconsistent there, so we just want to see that corrected to be consistent between the details and the plans. And just note that the town bylaws do require a 24-foot wide access aisle and 19-foot deep parking stalls. So that would have to, I think it increases it by maybe 2 feet, so that would need to be taken into account or request a waiver through the board.
Okay.
That was our only real comment. Other than that, I did see Beta's review, and Gary had some comments on the drainage, which we agree with, and I'll defer to Gary on that.
Okay, good, thank you. Gary, are you there?
Yes, I am,
Hi.
Mr. Chairman, thank
Hi.
you very much.
Hi, Gary. Gary, if you could comment on your report on this as well, please?
They have quite a few of they have made some pretty significant changes to the site from the first go-around, and I'll admit, I turned this review around in a day, so you'll have to excuse the format on the letter. It kind of got a little crazy, but Adam pretty much touched on almost all of the comments that I had. The bioretention basins just got to get modified a little bit. They cannot use that vegetative filter strip, so they're going to have to modify that. They are going to have to provide some form of treatment associated with the rear of the buildings on the back side. You know, they already have the pre-treatment associated with the swale, but they're going to have to provide some form of a BMP out in the backside, and I believe there's enough room there for a small rain garden or a small bioretention center. I have made a note that I would like a planning scheme on the bioretention. So they have a landscape architect involved. I think they can easily just make that modification and then provide it in accordance with the design guidelines under the standards in the handbook. Two other things I noted. They modified the driveway that Adam mentioned. They modified the driveway, and now the line of sight is actually outside the limits of the stone retaining wall along the front. Yet they're still showing the retaining wall to be removed, and I don't see any reason why this should be. So my advice to them is leave the retaining wall sitting there. That way you don't have to get involved with the issues associated with the walkway. You know, what kind of damage you're going to have to the walkway. Plus they are proposing now a septic system right there, so I think they'd want to leave that there. And I even my recommendation is that the board look at that, see if they concur with my statement on that. The other one is, I believe Mr. Masiello also made a note of it, is that I'd like to see a little bit more landscaping along the east side of the parking lot, just to try and, I mean, I know it's a residential, but it's a 23 space parking lot in a residential zone, so it would be nice to be able to provide a little bit more a little bit more screening associated with it. But they have provided all the street trees, all the trees that are necessary in accordance with the bylaw. And with that, I believe I can turn it back to the chair.
All right, thank you. I mean, I have some questions, but I'll go to the rest of the board first. If anybody has any questions. Jen, go ahead.
Through the chair, each individual home, are there accessible units within the homes themselves, the buildings themselves? Are they?
Built to accessibility?
Yeah.
They aren't, Bill. I don't think we're designing these to be ADA compliant, are we, completely?
One of the houses will be fully ADA compliant, the other house will be a modified ADA compliant house. In other words, you'll have access via ramps to both entrances, but one of them is would be an ADA design or architectural access board, or, you know,
Yeah.
American Disabilities Act.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is because the only ADA spot in the parking lot is in the middle of the planned southmost lot, so it's really only associated with that first building. So anyone if there was a need for someone with limited mobility to access the second building, we're pretty far away from that single ADA spot, so that was just a question I had there. And then any of the residents or staff who are making their way to the street, they would have to then cut through the driveway to access the sidewalk, right? Because the only kind of pedestrian way that's provided on site is only associated with the parking area, so there's no direct access from the public sidewalk back up to the pedestrian access that then continues to the building. So wondering if that's something that is desired or if it's intentionally not desired. So that, I guess, would be a question to Amigo. But if it was possible to somehow connect them, because it would be utilized to get to the street and go for a walk safely, then it would be nice to see that. And I agree, having additional plantings on Plan West side of the parking, particularly that southern and southmost lot, would be nice to see. I know it's technically north, based on the, well, no, it's Project North. I'm trying to find true north, but you know what I mean, the left side.
Left side of the site, because there is a residence there. so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
wanna-
yeah, okay, thank you.
For headlights and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's all, thanks.
Jay, Will?
I have a quick question. I guess maybe to the architect, going back to the fire department, it said, I mean, and I don't see it on the drawing that we have here, it says that there was no water lines on the previous plans provided, and would like to note that if they are placing sprinkler systems, that they should plan accordingly. So are there sprinkler systems?
There will be, each building will be fully sprinkled.
Okay. Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's noted on the drawings as well?
Not on these drawings, but the submission for a building permit.
Okay, as long as,
Eventually, we'll have them identified
Yep,
as
well-
such.
okay, as long as it's documented. Beth, you have any questions?
I did, but I think I answered it, so let me just confirm. I was looking at the lot coverage, and it said, I was just a little confused on what the actual lot coverage was, but it looks like there's a asterisk that says you guys are exempt from that because of the Dover Amendment, so I guess it's kind of a point that doesn't really need to be answered, so.
I think that it's actually a typo. It should have been, the building coverage is less than 15%.
Okay,
And that'll be corrected, all right? It'll be corrected for the next submission. I think I've already corrected it. And added the impervious coverage, which is in fact the 21%.
so your total impervious coverage is 21%, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I just got a couple quick comments. So the site lighting, we'll have the photometric plan as part of the next submission. The additional landscaping on the left side of the site. Design review drawings, part of the packet. The stone wall at the entry, I agree with Gary, if you don't have to take it, but take enough to create the entrance and a safe entrance. I do agree with Jen, because I had a note about access. Actually, 2 points of access. If you can get a sidewalk through that front entryway, unless you specifically don't want the resident, because my question would be, there's no connection between this site and the site to the previous. There's nothing in between the fences, so now they're basically landlocked. You're gonna put a gate so you can go from site to site now, from left side of site to right side of site, or?
We'd have to look at the site, but we could do something like that, I think, Bill. But
Just-
Bill, I wouldn't be.
Just to keep them, because I would've liked to seen this as one big package. It could've really worked out rather than two different sites potentially, but where you can tie them together. So it's a little bit safer for the, you know, for the residents who are there. I mean, it's not common nature, but septic underneath the parking lot, you're okay with that, Mike? I know it's private, but it's not the,
That would fall under the Board of Health, so
Yeah.
we wouldn't be reviewing
it's
that.
not the most, yeah. And why do you have two septic systems and not just one?
Actually, our financing, the bank asked us if we could do two instead of one.
To separate
Yeah.
each building into, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I believe that's it, so based on Gary's comments from Beta, the board's comments, you think you can wrap it up for the next meeting if we have time?
I defer to Adam and Level Design if they can get all that.
Yes.
done.
2 weeks?
Yes, definitely.
Which would mean basically a week,
Yes.
Adam,
Yeah.
to turn it around so that the board has a chance to review it. Is
Would that work,
possible?
Amy?
Yeah, they would need to get them by Friday to us,
That's
this
why I'm
Friday.
That's why I'm
Oh, that's-
asking.
To
Oh,
get
this
on the
Friday?
19th.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that Beta and Mike, myself, and the board has time to look at the plans. Like, we can't accept them right before the meeting because there won't be enough time to review plans. So, depends on, the next meeting after the 19th is 3 weeks. It is January 9th.
That's fine.
Due to
do
the
you want to just go
holidays.
January 9th
Yeah.
and everything will be all set?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not.
Are you sure?
Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue 704 Washington Street to January 9th. Do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
So
Aye.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
William David,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams.
Yes.
Rick Power,
Yes.
Beth Whirling, yes.
Was anybody in the audience? I keep forgetting. Oh, okay.
Do we, oh, yeah, you did.
I didn't see anybody, but it's in the notebook
I don't think there's anyone. Maxine, do you see anyone raising their hand?
I didn't
or
see
anything?
anybody raising their hand when I was looking, but,
No, there's no one.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good
gentlemen.
night, enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Bye.
All right, and then the last point of business will be the subdivision rules and regulations, section 300-13, other improvements. I can go to,
Make a motion to waive the reading.
so moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
it's a roll call.
Huh?
Oh, yes, I was thinking.
Yeah, I said yes.
William David,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams.
Yes.
Rick Power,
Yes.
Beth Whirling. Yes, sorry.
Amy, I know you drafted this up and whatnot. Could you give us a quick briefing?
Sure. I know that at the last meeting, we kind of had a discussion on bringing these changes to the subdivision rules and regulations. We've had several issues in the past with this type of work not being completed and waiting to the very end of the subdivision completion. So I did get some feedback from Jay as well from our discussions at the last meeting. Have proposed these two additions to the rules and regulations, one being that the sidewalks be installed prior to occupancy for the particular lot that is being purchased, as well as all the trees and landscaping as it relates to the lot being purchased. So it wouldn't include the entire subdivision having these installed, but it'd be the lot prior to occupancy of the lot.
Okay. Can I just ask one thing? Can we incorporate, maybe it's assumed, can we put driveway aprons in there too?
Yeah.
I just don't want the sidewalk to stop on either side of the driveway without the continuation.
Good point.
Yeah.
So with the sidewalk shall be
It can't.
installed.
By letter of that bylaw, it cannot.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want them to stop on either side and think they're gonna put the driveway in later, that's all. They can incorporate this.
Sidewalks inclusive of driveway aprons
Yeah.
shall be continuous from the point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah,
want the sidewalk
sidewalks,
stopped
comma,
on either
inclusive
side.
of driveway aprons.
Correct. That good, Mike? That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Because I've seen them stopped on either side before and then.
What was
Don't
side,
know.
Don't give anyone a reason to argue it.
That's right.
sidewalks, wait, repeat that.
Sidewalks, comma, inclusive of driveway aprons shall be continuous.
Okay.
Well, the comma shall be continuous.
That was my only comment that I had, unless somebody else, I think Jay read
No, no,
which
I
was
think
good.
that nails what you were looking for.
No, that
Mhm.
was good. Beth?
So,
Whoop.
Think
do
it-
we,
oh, go ahead.
I was going to this here, and Jake, do we have to specify from lot line to lot line for the sidewalk? Where we, how we talked about that before?
It says so the way I worded this, it says to the furthest point on the front property line of the parcel. So it's saying
Okay.
from here
Okay.
to all the way over there,
To the depth.
to
Yeah.
the far end of the property line.
Yep.
So
All
across
right.
the entire
Yeah.
frontage.
Yep.
Nice job.
Nice rewrite.
Yes, I would agree, nice job. But my only question is, has our town attorney reviewed this to make sure it's passing
Even if they
muster?
haven't, is the context correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can run it by Mark Sorrell.
Good question.
If you,
really want to start trouble, huh?
I'm
Okay.
just saying.
I would
Yeah.
assume it's gonna make it by Mark, correct?
I would think of, this isn't prohibiting
This
them
is
from
true.
building or constructing a subdivision. This is
No.
not.
Just
But
want to make sure
I
we're
can,
okay.
if the board if this is all the changes that we want tonight, I don't know about the second one, we haven't talked about if there's any changes to the tree plantings or any of that. Present the final copy to Mark, and if they want to continue to the next meeting and take a final vote at the next meeting, I can definitely do
Okay.
that.
I'm
Sure.
okay with that.
Sure.
That work?
Mhm.
I
So,
think the trees one sounds
yeah, is there
And the
any
trees?
changes to the second one
No,
to,
I think the shade tree makes its point, you know.
So make a motion to have the regulations reviewed by Attorney Sorrell and continue until the December 19th Planning Board meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg Rondo,
Yes.
William David.
Yes.
Jennifer Williams.
Yes.
Rick Power.
Yes.
Beth Whirling, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
I hate to say it, but general business,
Mhm.
it's, I know it's Willie's pet peeve and my own, bollards. I mean, we saw what happened in Hingham. I think
Yeah.
that's something we should really start thinking about,
Yeah.
about future sites coming forward, if we have any kind of T-bone, stuff like that, or anything to protect any kind of rail system or bollards or something. I'd like to see if we can start
Yeah,
thinking
particularly
about.
at storefronts.
Yeah.
Particularly where there's a opening or penetrable
Yep.
opening.
I think that could help us, actually, the people using the place, you know. It's just unfortunately, it's happening once a week nowadays. It's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Just to protect the people.
Right, whether intentional or not.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. But I think there's something we should think about, and maybe we should just start putting our minds together with something potentially for that, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's all I have.
Also, a little update from the EDC meeting, last week's EDC meeting. Town council is expected to have it on their agenda this month to, refer inclusionary zoning to the planning board in the January meeting. So you'll see, actually January 9th, it's getting busy, but, yeah, so you'll see that, coming in January for inclusionary zoning.
Very good.
Great.
Good. Mike, anything? Anything else? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg
Aye.
Rondo,
Yes.
William
Roll
David,
call.
Yes.
Jennifer Williams.
Yes.
Rick Power.
Yes.
Beth Whirling, yes.
Feel better, Rick?
Yep, feel better.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Right.